Hey everybody, Neil Trickett here, along with Jamey Shrier. This is a recording of the webinar that we had. Unfortunately, we had a few technical difficulties, but I wanted to record this for you so you can have the information that we went over. Had a lot of great shares, a lot of great feedback from the webinar on how to get no-nonsense, easy to implement strategies that automate referrals to your practice. For those of you that weren't on the call, I was interviewing Jamey Shrier here, great physical therapist, founder of the Practice Freedom Method, and he helps practice owners implement automated systems in their practice to help them have more freedom, grow their business, and that's what it's all about. It's about putting in systems so that you can scale your business, your practice, without having to sweat it as much, right? And then for me, for those of you that didn't get a chance to meet me, I'm a physical therapist, just like Jamey. Had a practice for 8 years and grew that up, and then I formed Practice Promotions to help other practices with their marketing needs. So we help hundreds of practices around the country with their print and digital and website marketing needs. So that's a little bit about me. All right, so let's dig in here. As you're going through this webinar presentation here, just make sure that you get to focus on this. There's some great nuggets in here that you want to be able to really get with, get your head around and be able to implement. So, don't go out jumping on Facebook or emails, things like that. Really just, take time for you here. Make sure that you take notes. And then what's important here is as you're going through, just jot down a little action plan, because you can get the great information from this, but then not necessarily put anything into play. And we want to help you put things into play so that you can get action done and get things moving. After the webinar here, just make sure that you follow up with us and how to do that. So with Jamey, you can check out the Practice Freedom Method, and Jamey's got some great information for you. He's got some free marketing maximizers and things that he'll be sending you to. But you can connect with Jamey at thepracticefreedommethod.com/profile. Again, that's thepracticefreedommethod.com/profile. And he has the opportunity for you to have I think a free consultation, a free analysis of your practice with him. And then also for those of you that are not currently with Practice Promotions or PT Performance websites, please make sure that you go to ptperformancewebsites.com and check out our product webinar so you can learn more about our different marketing and website and digital solutions that we have for practices. All right, so today's goals, we're going to look at implementing referral systems in your practice. We'll look at how you can get your patients on board to send more of their friends and family, and then how to get your staff fully on board, helping you generate more referrals. So when you're marketing your practice, one of the things you really want to look at is what's the easiest way to get brand new patients in it. Is that going out and doing the latest, Facebook ad? Is it doing the latest SEO? What does it boil down to? It really boils down to referrals. They're the easiest type of new patient to get because your patients are the ones who know you and like you the most, right? You've had this unique opportunity, unlike a physician's office where they get to spend 5 minutes with a patient. You get to spend an hour 3 times a week for 4 weeks typically. So 12 hours of time building this relationship with this patient. And we all have incredible stories of patients we've helped, and they've been so thankful, and they've really, been so touched by what we've been able to do for them and help them. And some are great referrers, right? But a lot are just not taking that next step to send someone, and that's the way that we want them to help us, right? So here's how your practice should look when you're looking for growth and scaling of your PT practice. Ideally, you want to have at least 40% of your current patient caseload as reactivated past patients, right? So we should get a lot of people coming back for care. Maybe it's not a month from now, maybe it's a year from now, but you should be building up a volume of your customers and have them come back for repeat business, right? They should be coming back in when their chronic problem flares up, or they don't go somewhere else, or if they injure themselves, or anything like that. And then they should be sending their friends and family to you. So you should have at least 25% of your business as patient referrals. If you really dial that in and imagine 1 out of every 4 patients replacing themselves, it sure would be a lot easier to grow your business. And then at least 20% direct access. So that's new leads coming in through your website, workshops that you're running, partner referrals, all kinds of things like that. And then about 15% or so of physician referrals. And so this helps take away the dependency on doctors. As we all know, doctors can retire, or they can just stop referring, or they can get bought up by a hospital system or open their own PT place. So there's a lot of things that can happen there, and you don't want to put yourself at the effect. So the way that most practices have this is that they put physician referrals as the majority of the way that they get new patients in the business, and really should be flipped. All right, so it's different mindset, but if you go with this, this is where you can get massive growth in your practice. So I want you to look at how strong is your current referral system. Do you even have one, right? Do you have a plan, something that's implemented, something that can be measured, and when you need to scale it up, you can dial it up a little bit. Everybody's on board with it. Do you have that, right? If you don't, then it's something you need to spend some time creating, right? So look at yourself. I understand it, being a practice owner. One of the problems that we can get into is having to treat all the patients, right? And then not spending enough time on building our business, right? We're trying to run a full caseload and then trying to do everything else on top of that. And so things fall through the cracks. But what you should really be planning for is, how can you carve out time in your week as a practice owner to spend time on planning and execution, especially of reactivation programs and referral programs. So that's an important thing. You have an hour or 2 hours a week dedicated towards that and making sure it goes right, and having the people behind you to help it. So one of the things that can cause you a bit of trouble here when you're trying to do referral programs is a lot of people go into it thinking, hey, I'm going to ask someone to send me their friend or family member, right? What you're really asking that patient to do is to go sell your services to their friends and family members. All right, we call it recommend, but in reality, they're going to sell, right? So it makes it hard, because you're asking this patient who had a great experience with you to go to their friend, or let's say their friend, and say, hey, you should go here. They're really good, and but at the end of the day, what happens is that patient in their mind is thinking, if they don't have the same experience, if they have a bad experience, that's going to look bad on me, right? That I recommended these guys, right? So there's that barrier that you're coming up against there. Also, some other considerations are that people can sometimes feel embarrassed about their health problem, or, they don't necessarily want to admit that they have a bad back or bad knee, or, even in the case of like women's health, definitely don't want to a lot of times share that information that they had a problem with their pelvis or whatever else, right? So those are just things to keep in mind, and that you really want to approach your referral program as a really low step, easy to share program for your patients, right? How can they get information out there? And the best way to do that is to really focus on getting them to enthusiastically share, right? So here's 4 steps to really crushing it with your referral program. First, it has to start with a wow customer journey system, all right? So not just a normal, hey, I got great care, like, no, wow, this was amazing kind of journey, right? So look at the viewpoint from your patient. Sometimes what I did in my clinic was that actually leave the building, come back in the mindset of a patient, walk through the waiting room. How did it look? How did it feel? How was I greeted at the front desk? How was my experience as I walked through the door? Did the gym look cluttered, or was it crazy? Or, just kind of those things. You have to put yourself in that mindset and look where you can improve that customer experience for that person coming through your practice. Is the front desk smiling? Are they accommodating? Is the billing process simple? Are the people very willing and helping the person through their financial issues there? So there's a lot of things that have to go to place, but the foundation for a good referral program has to come from the customer experience, because you can't ask for referrals if you're just not wowing people as they come through. Next is to make it really personal and about your purpose, right? One of the main reasons people are going to tell others about you is if you have your purpose well known. And so, what we're trying to really accomplish in physical therapy is help people improve their function, get out of pain, not have to rely on medications, avoid surgery. And so if you really make that well known and really personal, like, hey, Mary, we are really about helping people get well without the need for medications or surgery, and then we'd love to help so many more people. Is there anybody you know that we could help like that? And would you mind giving them some information about us? Right. So then that really gets the patient behind you more on your purpose, rather than just asking them to, get some information or get a referral for you. And then make it easy to share. What kind of tools do you have for that patient to share out there and make it easy to get your information in the hands of friends and family? And then lastly, rallying your staff behind your purpose. So you can't go it alone. You really need to get your staff on board in order to make referral programs work. And so often what happens is the practice owner can be gung-ho, yeah, I'm gonna get more referrals. And they usually have the best rapport with the patients, and they get the referrals, but the rest of the staff doesn't get that many referrals. Even though they're getting good results, they don't necessarily get referrals. So the point there, and something again that worked well in my practice, is to really talk to the therapist about why they're doing what they're doing, and give them value. Just telling them how important they are in the care process, right? And that no one else is really able to do what a physical therapist is able to do, right? You can't get someone off of medication without getting their function better, and how important that is. And so when your staff really starts to own that kind of purpose, then they don't feel so shy when asking for a referral. Hey, I really want to help more people. Would you mind giving us some information? When they have a conversation about their husband having a bad knee. So in getting patients, your current patients to refer, you really want to look at, again, that wow experience. Look at the timing part of it too, because obviously you don't want to be asking for a referral when it's not the optimum time. Also, it's important to try and ask for a review or testimonial first. And what this does is it helps that patient introspect on where they were and where they've come to, right? So the patient may be doing great now, and they're like, hey, I'm doing good, but they don't remember where they were 4 weeks ago, and they could barely walk 10 feet, and they were in excruciating pain. You got to bring them back to that point and see how far they've come. Once they're there and they've kind of written that down, and they start to really see what a difference you've made in their lives, then it's a good time to ask for that referral. But again, letting them know, hey, I'm so happy that when you came in, remember how much pain you were in, and then look how well you're doing now, and you're back to running and all this. Yeah, that's amazing. That's great. I really want to help more people like that. Physical therapy is the best choice, and I want people to come off medications and not have to do surgeries that they don't need. Is there anybody else that's kind of in the same boat that, we could help? Oh yeah, there's my aunt, she has such and such problem. Great. Could you give them some information about us? And then we can get them in as a special and take, good care of them with a free consult or something like that. So that kind of gets the ball rolling there a bit faster. And then also make sure you have those materials and links to share with folks. And then lastly, if you do want to incentivize, that's totally fine. We have to have those other points in place first, but you do want to make it a win-win. So ideally, if you do a kind of referral program where, if let's say, for example, you have a massage in the clinic, and you offer, hey, I'm going to give you $20 off your massage, and I'll also give $20 off to your friend, right? So that makes it more of a win-win for everybody. So just an example of things you could do to incentivize with that. First off, okay, looking at making it easy to share here, want to make sure that they can refer through your website. So on websites that we do for clinics, we make sure there's a refer a friend page. This way you can, the person can just do it right on their phone, right in the clinic, and they can punch in their name, their email, and their friend's name and email, and put their individual comments. So it's an email coming from the friend and the referrer, right, to their friend, so they see that, and then it also kind of tracks everything. So it's a good way of making that easy to share. Next is through some automation. So for example, here, like in an email sequence, you can have it. So what we do that's good is like a new patient comes in, front desk basically just says, we'll put the first name and email, and kicks off a welcome series with asking for their patient forms, and then give us, a few weeks later, give us some feedback. How are you feeling? How are we doing? And then a few weeks after that, then, hey, would you recommend us to a friend? Yes or no? Get the review out from them. And then you can ask them for, hey, would you please recommend us to a friend, or help us help others is a great way to put it. and have some links in that email that could be easily shared on useful information, useful tips. Like, so if you're having back pain, or here's our medical library, and so you can get some information about how to help your back pain or how to help your knee pain, some simple things for people to share. Another good physical thing to have is referral business cards. So you can have, a stack of these in like a little plastic business card wallet, those little business card wallets. Maybe put 5 or 10 of those, give those out to a patient to take with them, and then that they can have that on hand or in their house whenever something pops up, and they can easily share a referral card. Also, it's great to have in the clinic. One thing we do for clinics is condition-specific rack cards. So here what you can do is have, shoulder pain, knee pain, back pain, all kinds of different topics, right? Have a nice little display in your office. One, when they're in the waiting room, they can be seeing that, I know so-and-so that has shoulder problems. They can pull that and they can take it off to a friend. Or when that therapist is, talking with the patient, they're like, yeah, my husband really has problems with his back, and you're seeing the patient for their knee. Do you treat back problems? I love that question. Yes, of course we treat back problems. Let me give you some information. Can you give it to him? Right? And then you could even write something on the back or something like that. But anyway, it's stuff that's, it's condition specific. It's going to be easy to share. It's a very low gradient for the patient to share with their friend or family member. It doesn't put any pressure on them. They're just given some information to share. All right, so here, you definitely don't want to go it alone. You want to get that staff really behind your purpose. And when your staff really owns your purpose, their intention to get others to refer becomes stronger. And this is a lot of times where practices kind of stutter, is that they don't put the emphasis on their staff really owning the purpose. Like, hey, we're really here to help people, really help, improve their lives, get them out of medication, surgery. We're really valuable, right? So get them to really own that purpose, and then they feel a lot more comfortable in asking for referrals or get others to refer for them. Same thing goes with your customers, getting them behind your purpose there. And then let's face it, not everybody is the best referrer. So you're going to have your class A, B, C, D, E, and F referrers, but you want to put a lot of attention on your class A referrers, and you kind of know who they are in your clinic, the ones that are really, cheering for you out there. And so you want to keep them in really good contact, mention them, and of course with their permission, things like that. But make sure they have business referral cards always, and you keep sending it to them because they're the advocates for your practice. So definitely keep that list. All right, so just make sure here that you listen to Jamey Shrier's. He's going to give you even more information on tips that worked for him and his practice, and he teaches others on how to do great referral programs in their practice. So thank you again for taking the time. Appreciate it, and hope you got a lot out of this and start to implement it in your practice.
Hello, my name is Jamey Shrier, and welcome to the webinar. Welcome to the no-nonsense, easy-to-implement strategies that automate referrals to your practice. If you dreaded through the underwater, garbled presentation that I attempted to do the other day, then I do humbly apologize. But Neil and I talked about it, and we wanted to give you a clean version of what it was supposed to be like. If you weren't on the webinar, then you really missed a fun and exciting and an absolute disaster on my end. Neil did an awesome job, but we had some audio and technical difficulties. But anyways, I just want to say thank you to Neil Trickett from Practice Promotions for inviting me on to this webinar to share a little bit of my experience with you guys. Just real quick, I've been a practice owner for 15 years, had a place in Maryland, two locations in Maryland. And like most of you, I started out as just a small single operator, and wanting to grow a business, learning to help a lot of people in my community. And I honestly can say I have no idea what I'm doing. And I never was taught this in school. As you know, there's really not much at all in school. And you just have to figure it out. And figuring out can be quite expensive. It can be very time consuming. It can be very stressful. And it can cause some really pain and tension in your family and with your friends and stuff. And that's what happened to me. It got so bad that I contemplated on leaving the profession because I just couldn't handle it anymore. But good news, my misery is now your benefit because I spent a lot of time, tons of hours, trial and error, working things out. I invested well over $300,000 in my own education and self-development of trying to figure out how to make a PT practice operate. I like to call it operationally irrelevant, making me operationally irrelevant in the business, which means having systems, having a great team in place, having consistent strategies of referrals, having consistent ways to understand financials and hiring and all these different aspects of business. In 2013, that dream became a reality. And when that happened, my business, despite what so many people said that, oh my God, if you're not there treating, they're going to revolt and all this other stuff. And the reality was my business actually shot up when I removed myself from a lot of this mundane administrative junk. And I know so many of you want to do that same thing. So what I want to share with today is just a little tip of the iceberg on some of the things that we did to generate consistent referrals. Neil has already shared so many cool ways using technology and the internet and some of the things that he and his company do. So those are really awesome things. So I thought I'd take a little different approach and share some very low-tech ways, but they're ways that could be replicated. And when you can replicate something, then you can create consistency. And when you have consistency, you have what they call automation. You can automatically generate consistent referrals. So this is going to be kind of a low-tech automated version of how to generate referrals. So let's begin. So there's this idea of the law of reciprocity. Some of you may have heard of this law. It's been around for a long time. It's nothing new. But the law of reciprocity is important in what I'm about to share with you. And it's important in general in your practice. And you use this day in and day out and maybe not know it. But the law of reciprocity says if you do something nice for me, I'm going to do something nice for you. That's really it. And where this law comes from is we as human beings have this innate wanting to be fair. We want to be fair. So if we're both walking into a restaurant that has double doors on one end and then you walk in and doors on the other, if I open up the first door, there is like a 99.9% chance you're going to open up the second door. That's an example of the law of reciprocity. Another example is if I'm nice and friendly to you, you're going to be nice and friendly back. So there's a lot of different examples of the law of reciprocity, and I can spend a whole day talking about this. But what I want to use this idea of the law of reciprocity in our businesses, in our practices. So when you deliver value, which is why I have this slide here, when you deliver value to someone, there's a high likelihood that they want to deliver value back to you. The most common way we see this in physical therapy in practices is when patients bring you brownies and patients bring you cookies. What's funny about this is we're like a health and wellness company. And I got patients bringing me tons of crap. Of course, most of my staff likes this stuff, and I'm a chocoholic, so if they bring anything chocolate, I love it. But I'm thinking to myself is, wow, you spent a lot of time and a lot of energy, you spent money showing your appreciation to me, reciprocating value to me. And maybe you're doing that because I haven't been clear in how you could show value to me. So my thought is, what if I was clear in how I wanted reciprocating value? Again, not forcing people to do it, but just helping people who already want to share how great we are, how well we helped them. What a great service we provide of helping people in our community. So that's where this idea was born. So here is the strategy of how to take this law of reciprocity, this idea of providing value first, and then sharing with people how you would like to receive value back if they chose that. So we call it the QA strategy. QA stands for quality assurance. And the quality assurance, you can do this a lot of ways. The way we did it is we just created a simple form called the QA form. And the QA form had a few questions on there. And the questions were derived from these. These aren't the exact questions. I'll share with you in a second the exact questions. But here's what the essence of the question was. First question, is your patient doing better? If your patient isn't doing better, and you and they are the judge of doing better, because doing better with a 16-year-old female with a mild ankle sprain and doing better with a person that's chronic pain for 20 years, what determines doing better is going to be different. But are they doing better? A way to ask that is, what percentage are you better since starting physical therapy with us? Is it 10%? Is it 50%? The next thing you want to do, now that they've shared that they are improving, by the way, if they say they're not improving the way you think they should, you stop this form and you address their needs. I repeat, you stop this and you address their needs. You don't want to ask anything of anyone unless you do what you say you're doing first. All right. So that's just a rule of thumb. But if they are better, if they have an improvement in pain, what you want to do is you want to help them acknowledge the real life things that has helped because of being seen by you. So in what ways are they doing better? So if they're like, I'm 40% better, how so? Tell me more. Well, I'm able to negotiate stairs better. I'm able to pick up my kids without pain. I've been able to get back on the practice field, although at 80%, but still that's better than not being there at all. So they help signify and acknowledge the progress they're making in real stuff. Because you can do pain scales all you want, but that's not real. Real is, so now what can you do? When you have positives on both of those, in other words, they're improving what you think they should be improving, and they've acknowledged that there's some real functional things, activity things that they're doing, then you ask the next question. And again, this is in a form, so they're already filling this out at the beginning of their session. So do you feel comfortable enough that you would return to Shrier PT? That was the exact question that we asked. If they said yes, and by the way, I've never had anyone say no, and it's not because we're great. I mean, we're good, but I guarantee if you're doing this and you ask that question, I guarantee every single person is going to say yes to you because they're going to say yes, right? They're not going to say no. But assuming they say yes, the next question is really important. If yes, would you like to help a family or friend that also has back pain? That's it. What you're not doing is being salesy. What you're not doing is trying to get them to refer to you. The secret to this whole thing is coming from a place of authenticity, coming from a place of genuine. Just be you. Just be your natural, helpful self. And if you truly feel you want to help someone that they know, that they care about, then what better way than to allow them to do that? Because if you don't do this, They're going to show their appreciation by bringing in cookies. What you're doing by this, even if they don't put someone down, what you're doing is triggering something in their head saying, look, if I hear of somebody, I'm going to definitely refer them because that's what they want. And that's what I want to show my appreciation. I can tell you when we did this, and this was one of our, very simple as you can tell, but we got 10% more referrals from our patients, that the cost of that, the acquisition cost as it's called, was zero. We got 10% more. So if we had 40 patients a month come in, 4 of them, at least 4, came from this strategy at a zero cost. Oh my God, how awesome is that? You want to increase your number of referrals by 10%? Just implement this thing. Remember, it doesn't have to be complicated to be effective. Okay, we got that. Now, back to this slimy dude. If I say the word sales, what do you think of? You think of this guy, you know? What has 2 thumbs and can sell you anything? This guy. You think of this putz right here, right? You know, nobody's going to buy anything from this guy. And so many of us, when we think of sales, because, you know, obviously we didn't get into physical therapy to sell. But when we think of sales, we think of someone like this person. And the reality is, none of us are like that. None of us could be like that if we even tried. But we have this fear of being perceived like that. Now, that's for a whole different webinar of understanding these perceptions that you have and these stories that we tell ourselves. So that's for a whole different thing. But I will tell you this. As long as you come from a place of being just genuine, being just good-natured, just being who you already are, you're in a helpful profession. No one will ever perceive you as being salesy and slimy. Instead, they're going to perceive you as being helpful. They're going to perceive you as wanting to help someone. And that is going to be rewarded. So here's a really cool thing you can do with your team. This is strategy number 2. What you want to do is you want to utilize your staff. Let's say you have a staff of 5. That's 5 people that know the inner workings of your company, that believe in you as an owner, that believe in physical therapy or whatever your profession may be, that truly believes in the good work that you're doing. And of course, as an astute owner, you've also created a vision and a purpose around that. So they believe in that too. If not, they wouldn't be with you. So why not create an ability to share this message with 5 people versus just you? Because obviously you're sharing this with people and people are coming to you, hey, so what do you do? Or I heard you're a PT, can you help me with my shoulder? But what if your staff went out and consciously looked for opportunities to say, hey, you got to come in and see Jamey. Man, we're awesome. I mean, I love working there. We're so much fun. We can take care of you. They would love to do that. So make it fun. So here's what we did. We created a simple contest. I know, all this stuff is just stupidly simple. But we created a contest, a 30-day contest. And I said, you'll receive a $25 gift card for every referral that turns into a new patient. That's it. The front desk is going to track it. And if someone comes in by the QA strategy, that counts. If you invite your mom in, that counts. It doesn't matter. Anyone that we can show that you brought in, you referred, we'll count it. If there's any confusion, we'll count it anyways. If I gave out $200 worth of gift cards, that's 8 new patients. How much is a new patient worth to you? To us, it was worth $1,200. 8 times 12, that's almost $10,000 in revenue. A good portion of that is profit. Assuming we don't have to hire anybody else, they already have the time to see them and I'm already paying them. It cost me nothing except $200 to get them. You're talking about a huge amount of money going to the bottom line. For a contest that A, is fun, so immediately it boosts up morale, and B, it comes from a place of we are here to help people, not to get them to come in, not to sell them and force them, but we're here to help. Why wouldn't we want to share what we're doing with other people? And when we did this exercise, or we did this strategy, and we did this almost every month, and we would change it up and we would do a different kind of contest. Everybody got involved and we would generate 5, 10. I think our highest was like 17 referrals, 17 new patients by having a contest, because people like fun. People like making things a game. And people ultimately want to help you, including your staff. So another low tech but powerful way to generate referrals. And because this contest can be duplicated anytime you want, it creates a sense of systematic automation to your referral process. Your 30-day contest becomes a referral strategy that you track the metrics, and as long as you have people coming in, who cares? Keep running it every month. Again, it costs you nothing except for whatever little gift you give people. So even if 1 or 2 people come in, it's costing $0. Never stop it. Just look for ways to improve upon it. Okay, excellent. Let's go to the final strategy I have for you. The final strategy is, without a doubt, the most powerful strategy that I teach to my clients. And this is a strategy that is, it connects with our DNA of wanting to help people. That's kind of the theme today, right? The theme is wanting to help people. And when you have that perspective, that mindset, it changes completely how you actually implement some of your strategies. Well, this one absolutely has to come from that place. And this strategy is for you, the owner. This is not a strategy to delegate. The idea is simply to reach out to someone and ask them for help. Here's how you do it. Step 1, create a list of fans, supporters, avatars. Create a list of people that like you. Create a list of people that know you, that respect what you do, that appreciate what you do. It can be doctors. It can be other types of referral partners. Like we had this relationship with people that owned gyms and people that had specialty running stores that sold shoes, CrossFit, all types of different people. Look for people that are influencers, right? Maybe they themselves wouldn't necessarily be a referral partner, but man, they're just an entrepreneur. They're just an influencer. They just know people. They could connect you with people, right? They may have some really great advice for you. And then the last is your special patients. We all have those special patients, patients that have referred 2, 3, 4 people to your practice. You never asked them. You didn't even do the QA strategy. You didn't need to. These are your absolute ideal clients, ideal patients that just will refer because that's just who they are and they believe in what you're doing. So reach out to them as well. And you want to send an email. And in your email, there's a couple of components you want to have. The first component is, well, why are you emailing them? The second component is, what do you want? What are you asking them? And the third is always coming from a place of appreciation. not a place of expectation. Okay? So I'm going to show you an example, and I'll give you a second to write it down. This is the most powerful email you can send. Here's what you do. Colleen is a supporter. She's a referral partner. Hi, Colleen. As you may know, we have a special program for young athletes that helps them get back in the game without the need for surgery quickly. I'm so excited to continue to share this with as many young athletes as possible. I wanted to tap into your wisdom to see how I could get a wider audience. Do you have any thoughts, connections, or ideas on how to do that? Really appreciate your time and help, Jamey Shrier. This is a powerful message. It doesn't matter that you do this exactly like that. I would suggest that you make sure this is in your own words. But if you look at what I wrote, I told them right from the beginning that I had a program and I want to share this with others. So I told them what I wanted to talk about. And then in the next sentence, I told them why I was reaching out to them. Because I want to actually tap into their wisdom. I want to see what they think I can do. It may be, Jamey, you know what? I didn't realize you saw this group. I'll refer tons of people to you. It may be that, but I'm not expecting that. It may be, hey, Jamey, you know what? Yeah, I'm sure there's some people I could introduce you to. Great. You don't know what they're going to say. But what happens is it starts to fill your calendar with opportunities. And isn't that we all want? We just want an opportunity because we're going to take advantage of an opportunity. And if you do this, if you send out 10, 20 emails to, remember, your best supporters, so the chances of them responding to you are very, very high than if it was an absolute cold contact. You're going to get, let's say 90% of the people respond. I promise you, you're going to walk away with at least, if you send 20, 5 opportunities. And that's being low. 5 opportunities that can lead to referrals or generate referrals right off the get-go. So the third paragraph or the third line is, do you have any thoughts, connections, or ideas? So you're specifically asking them what you want from them. And then, of course, appreciation. Really appreciate your time and help because you do respect their time and you're not doing this lightly. What you're ultimately tapping into is their natural DNA to want to help you or to want to help anyone. And most of us are too afraid. Most of us are too scared, or we don't think that highly of ourselves. I'm describing myself, by the way, when I was in practice, to do this. But man, if you can just swallow that ego and swallow that pride and actually ask people for help, they will roll out the frickin' red carpet for you. And I promise you, you will get tons of opportunities. This is low tech as it gets. I guess the only technical part in here is if you do it by email. But what I preach and what I teach and what we are experts at in my business, the Practice Freedom Method, is teaching about how to build quality, long-lasting relationships. It ain't quantity, it's quality. And if you do this, you'll be well on your way. All right. So those are 3 strategies. I hope that helps you. One thing I do want to give you as a free gift for being a part of this, especially for dealing with me and all my underwater talk, is I do want to give you the Marketing Maximizer. You will receive this in an email. There's nothing to go to a site or anything like that. I'm going to give it to you. What the Marketing Maximizer does is help you organize your marketing strategies. It asks you very specific questions to get you thinking more about your strategies, such as your objective, what the strategy itself is, what the name of it is, who's responsible, and of course, tracking metrics. So it gives you just a place to do it. It's a very powerful tool. It's a very simple tool, but it lets you start keeping track of this so you can be much more thoughtful and intentful in your strategies. So the 3 strategies I shared with you, you would put those on there. Next, free discovery call. So a discovery call is I have with certain people I normally charge $500 for this call. However, I spoke to Neil about this. I'm not going to charge you anything. This is going to be a complimentary call for those of you that want to discuss your situation, that really want to get into, so what are the struggles you're having? Where is it that you're trying to go? And let's brainstorm and think about what would have to happen to get you there. And then we can talk about some options. This is not selling. I am not here to do high pressure sales. There's no guarantee we're going to do anything together. That's not how I work. What I want to know is I want to know where you're coming from, and I want to try to help. If there's something that I think one of my programs can help, then of course I'll share that with you. If it's something that someone else can help, or I'm like, you know what, I think you should just go with Neil and really do Neil's program first to generate referrals. And then after you generate referrals in a certain way, then you can come back, then that's fine too. Okay? But if it is something that you want to at least explore, then I am totally open to talking to you. I don't have a ton of spots a week because like you, I'm busy, but I will reserve some spots. Just go to my website, thepracticefreedommethod.com/profile, and take it from there. I want to thank you again for allowing me to do this the right way. I want to thank Neil again for giving me this opportunity to share. I'll see you soon. Good luck. Take care, everybody.